Episode 121. The elven girl spun around, opened her mouth, and a thumb-sized pink ring slowly emerged from her lips. It then unfurled in the wind, instantly expanding to the size of a human head, emitting a low, resonant hum. It shone with a brilliant light, radiating an aura of sentience. From the way it appeared, the radiance it emitted, and the vast spiritual power it contained, one thing was certain: this was a genuine magic treasure. Could this young woman truly be a core formation cultivator? Soon after, a tremendous crash echoed from within the secret cavern, dozens of feet deep. It was followed by several low, bellowing roars, like those of an enraged water buffalo. Then, a series of thunderous rumbles shook the air. The low roar swelled with intensity for a few moments, then quickly faded away. Then, a continuous barrage of thunderous crashes and explosions erupted, completely drowning out the roar, which never sounded again. Several hours later, the elven maiden emerged from a hidden cave entrance with the male and female disciples of the Concealing Moon sect. The disciples following her all wore expressions of excitement, their faces beaming with satisfaction. It's no wonder. The chance to slay a top-tier, first-grade spirit beast isn't something chi condensation novices like them come across easily. Now, having taken down that terrifying-looking crocodile with such relative ease, how could they not be this excited? Of course, if the elven maiden hadn't used her ring-shaped magic treasure to block the majority of the beast's attacks, they couldn't have ended the battle perfectly without a single casualty. So, the group's gaze upon the young woman's retreating figure was filled with even greater awe. The young woman paid no mind to the gazes of those behind her, continuing forward with an air of utter nonchalance. To her, slaying a top-tier first-grade demon beast was clearly no great feat. Moments later, the disciples of the Concealing Moon sect vanished into the dense forest nearby, disappearing from sight. And so, in other parts of the region, disciples from various sects continued to hunt demonic beasts and seize spirit herbs. Strangely, though, after these clashes, there were only a handful of incidents where someone was actually killed. Typically, the side that knew it was outmatched would simply retreat, and the one with the upper hand wouldn't press the issue too hard. They'd hurriedly gather the spirit herbs and then rush off to the next location. Most people were well aware of this situation. The main reason is, everyone's running short on time. It's better to spend that time looking elsewhere for other opportunities, rather than bleeding each other dry in a pointless fight. The true moment for a desperate fight over the spirit herbs on each other's backs will come on the final day, when everyone is laden with their haul. On that day, no one would let the other side leave so easily. Han Li was well aware of this. So, during these 2 days, while disciples from the various sects could still restrain themselves, he raced desperately from one location to the next. Whenever he encountered a mid-tier or higher beast along the way, he would immediately use his movement technique to detour around it, never allowing himself to be entangled for even a moment. It seemed Han Li's luck was in full swing. After encountering that rare venomous insect beast, the giant centipede, in the very first cave where he gathered herbs, not a single other guardian beast appeared at the next 4 locations he visited. Thus, he plucked the spirit herbs with ease, not expending a single ounce of extra effort. This had Han Li overjoyed.
If things keep going this smoothly, gathering enough spirit herbs won't be a problem at all.
By now, the 3 days in the Forbidden Zone were nearly over. Han Li was leaping swiftly from treetop to treetop. 2 low-tier iron-armed apes he encountered along the way were dispatched with a few casual flicks of his hand, their bodies instantly torn asunder and completely dismembered. Now, Han Li was heading for his final destination of the day, a small stone hall near the mountain's peak. It was said that more than one type of spirit herb and rare plant grew there, and among them was the heaven spirit fruit he needed most.
However, while the sky spirit fruit hasn't ripened yet, several of the other varieties are already mature and ready for picking. There are definitely guardian spirit beasts, and there might even be disciples from other sects who arrived early. But it doesn't matter. I'd actually welcome others getting there first. They can clear the path for me and save me the extra effort. They wouldn't be interested in immature spirit herbs anyway.
Just as Han Li was feeling quite pleased with himself, the silhouette of the stone hall finally came into view in the distance. It wasn't very large as expected, but before he could get any closer, the sound of a fierce battle reached his ears.
Looks like someone really did clear the way for me.
Han Li's movements immediately became bizarre. After a few flickers, he had silently closed in on the stone hall. The scene playing out on the plaza before the stone hall was not the one Han Li had envisioned. A barefoot, black-robed man with a square face was wielding a massive silver sword, driving a slender woman in green robes back, leaving her gasping for breath. Her only defense was a shimmering yellow silk handkerchief, but its light had dimmed, completely suppressed by the silver greatsword. She could only hold on, straining against the onslaught. On the ground nearby lay a massive red wolf, cleaved in two, and a white fledgling eagle, its head separated from its body. The blood beneath them had spread across the earth, filling the air with a sharp, pungent stench of gore. They hadn't been dead for long. And this girl in green was none other than the young woman who had sold the golden bamboo pen to Han Li. This was a huge shock to Han Li. Back when the disciples from all the sects had gathered outside the Forbidden Zone, he'd already noticed that this girl's cultivation was extremely shallow, just the 10th layer. So in his mind, she should have either perished long ago in the Forbidden Zone or be hiding somewhere keeping her head down. Yet here she was, in the belly of the crater, locked in a desperate fight with a formidable-looking giant sword sect disciple wielding a top-tier magic tool. How could Han Li not be utterly astonished by this?
Little girl, it's not too late to stop now and leave. You should know I've been holding back. I, Yan, am reluctant to kill a woman. But that doesn't mean I won't. Keep this up, and you'll end up just like that white eagle.
The barefoot man was losing his patience. After all, he'd been pestered by this green-robed girl who seemed to have popped out of nowhere for nearly an hour. His last shred of patience was long gone.
If she continued to be this unreasonable, he wouldn't hesitate to get rough.
If you won't give me those sunblaze flowers from inside, I'll die before I move an inch.
The barefoot giant's temper flared at those words. She can't even save herself, yet she keeps pushing my limits.
Good. Then die here today.
He pointed at the silver greatsword, and it immediately erupted with a blindingly brilliant sword radiance. Then, with the crushing force of a falling mountain, it slashed mercilessly down toward the girl's head. Seeing this, the girl gritted her silver teeth and hastily waved her silk handkerchief, transforming it into a wheel-sized yellow disc to meet the attack head-on. With a sharp rip, the top-tier magic tool, already at the end of its strength, was cleaved into countless fragments by the fully powered silver giant sword, scattering them across the sky. The silver sword flashed with light and, under the big man's control, continued its merciless descent toward the girl below, who wore a bitter smile. With a light clang, the silver sword was intercepted a full 10 feet above the girl's head by a golden flying blade that shot in from the side. The blade then whirled into a blur of golden light above her, holding the massive silver sword at bay, not allowing it to descend a single inch.
Who's there? Show yourself. The barefoot man recalled his silver sword with a wave of his hand. His eyes flashed like lightning as they swept to one side, locking onto a massive boulder. He had seen it clearly. That golden blade had shot out from right there.
What a lovely day. Why all the fighting? Wouldn't it be better to sit down and have a chat?
From behind the boulder, a figure flashed into view, revealing a rather ordinary-looking young man from Huangshan.
He scratched his head, looked up at the sky, and let out a casual laugh.
This was Han Li, who, seeing the girl in mortal danger, had instinctively stepped in to save her. Han Li could only stare up at the sky in silent exasperation at his own impulsive act of saving the girl the moment he saw her pitiful state.
This goes completely against my principle of staying out of trouble. I've just invited this mess for no good reason. A beautiful woman is truly a source of calamity.
But Han Li knew this was mainly because the woman had left too deep an impression on him. He simply couldn't stand by and watch a woman he felt genuine fondness for die right before his eyes and remain unmoved.
It seems my heart isn't as hard as I thought. I'm not cut out to be a ruthless, cold-blooded overlord who would turn on his own kin.
Han Li gave a bitter laugh and let his thoughts wander for a moment. But the trouble was already upon him, so he had to steel himself and face it. Fortunately, after his clashes with the Treasure Maiden and Feng Yue, Han Li had gained some confidence in facing these elite disciples, so he wasn't overly panicked. He already had the items in his grasp.
It's you!
Only then did the girl in green get a clear look at Han Li's face. Seeing that she had only just recognized her savior, Han Li felt a mix of exasperation and amusement. On the surface, however, he merely gave her a slight, indifferent nod. Then he turned his head back to the barefoot man and continued.
What do you think of my suggestion? Why not let this young lady go? You take your road, I'll take mine. We go our separate ways, no need for any unpleasantness.
Han Li still held on to the hope of avoiding a fight if possible. After all, picking a pointless brawl with a master was hardly a wise move. But Han Li never expected that the barefoot man across from him would completely ignore his words. Instead, the man stared with intense interest at the golden talon mother-child blades in Han Li's hand. It seemed the weapon fascinated him far more than Han Li himself did. This behavior from the other man secretly annoyed Han Li. He was suppressing his displeasure, about to speak again, when the barefoot man across from him suddenly opened his mouth, and with his very first words he left Han Li stunned.
That golden blade in your hand, it's part of the same set of magic tools as the one in the air, isn't it? To withstand my silver sword and not shatter immediately. This must be a top-tier magic tool, am I right?
The barefoot man from the giant sword sect, his eyes blazing with golden light, suddenly unleashed a terrifying soaring aura. Han Li blinked, not understanding what the other party meant.
You're right. They are a set of top-tier magic tools, and...
That's enough. You know all you need to. Make your move. If you can defeat me, not only will I spare the woman's life, but all the spirit herbs in this stone hut will be yours.
So this guy is just a martial maniac from the cultivation world.
At that moment, Han Li realized the truth. A wave of bitter frustration washed over him, leaving him utterly speechless.
Take this.
Without waiting for Han Li's reply, the big man didn't even bother to release his protective shield. He immediately redirected his silver sword from the girl's direction and sent it hurtling toward Han Li with ferocious momentum.